All right, so today we're going to be doing a video about this coyote that's kind of been causing havoc around my house for a long time. We bought the house a little over 2 years ago, and ever since then we just cannot keep animals outside. We tried quail, chickens, turkeys, everything pretty much would be attacked by a very intelligent creature. So I couldn't tell what it was at first. I thought maybe it was raccoons, maybe it was possums, foxes, coyotes. I had no idea. And so I set up trail cameras, was very unsuccessful with that. I did allow my chickens to free range, and I know that when you free range chickens, there's a chance you're gonna lose some, especially when you live out where I live. And so I started setting out little traps. I ended up catching a possum that was eating the eggs and killing some smaller chicks, and then I ended up also catching a couple raccoons. So I thought that was about it. The attacks ended up stopping for, I don't know, probably almost 6 months. Anyways, after that 6 months, we got more chickens, we were getting eggs, and then kind of over winter it ended up happening again, but this time it was much slower. It wasn't just one big wipeout. We had gotten I got my dogs to kind of go outside a little bit more, get their scent out there, and help them, like have them patrol the yard a little bit more. Finally it got to the point where there were no attacks happening, but then whenever my chickens would venture outside of the fence, they'd slowly get picked off one by one. And so I started noticing dog tracks outside, and I know my wife would go when she'd walk the dog. And so I told her, I was like, hey, look, for the next few days, don't walk the dog outside of the fence. I want to see something. And then sure enough, she stopped walking the dog, and there were still tracks, and big tracks. So I found out this is probably a 50-pound coyote, if I had to guess. I'll be putting a little montage of it running around and some pictures later. But this is kind of what he looks like. He's big, and he is smart. So I decided I was going to start trapping him. And so that's what this video is going to be about, is how I set my traps and pretty much what I've done so far. Now, I will say at the making of this video, which today is March 11th. So as of today, I've been trying to trap him since mid-January, and I have not been successful yet. So I've tried about 20 different sets. I've tried putting bait out. I've tried gland lures, call lures, all kinds of different stuff, and I just have not had any luck. I've had a couple traps triggered, but never have him in it. And I've had one trap where he actually pulled the stake out. I'm not sure if it was him or if it was a deer or something else, but something actually pulled the whole trap and the stake out. So what my plan is now is, at the making of this video, I'm going to go ahead and post this hopefully today. But my plan going forwards, hopefully you'll be able to see me in a future video, is I've got a bait pile set up, and I have a motion detector, and I've got a motion light. So that way I hear a ring whenever he's there, the light will turn on outside, and I can shoot him literally from my bedroom window. So I've got my AR set up for it, and my neighbors, they know that I'm going after this guy, so they said they're perfectly fine with it. And I'm just waiting on the opportunity. So I'm going to show you how I set these traps up. I know that these traps are tried and true, but anyways, I'm going to roll the footage from my trail camera. I did eventually switch it to video mode instead of camera mode. That way I could see how they're moving, where they're moving, all that kind of stuff. So this will be that footage. Enjoy. And then after that footage, I'll show you a couple of sets that I've used, and I'll be looking forward to a future video when I finally catch him. If you have any names for him, I believe it's a male. I'm not 100% sure. It might be a female. If there's any coyote experts, let me know. But if you can figure out a funny name for him, then that's what we'll call him. And hopefully I'll be able to catch him in the future. As far as I know, his body count is somewhere in the 20s for chickens. And then the quail, I'm not sure if that was the same creature that killed my quail. But I did lose 12 quail from that as well. So, and then also a few turkeys. And by a few, I mean at least 6. And one of them was a full-grown, like 40-pound turkey that got drug out of my fence. So it's definitely the coyote. So his kill count is pretty high. And before we can get any more animals, I've got to take him out. So wish me luck. And if you can think of a pretty name or a funny name, then let me know. And whatever comment has the most likes is what we'll call it. But anyways, Here's the footage. So this is my professional rendition of how things happened. So it started out, had chickens, you know, I petted my chickens, loved on my chickens. Well, one night something came and it gobbled up all of my chickens. And so I had to figure out what in the world this was. So I was sad. That sadness turned into anger, but the anger gave me an idea. So I went out and searched, looked around, and found some tracks. So I found where they were walking through, and from there is where I had my big idea. I bought some foot traps online and decided to dig some holes and try a few different sets that I found online. So I covered up the traps and waited and waited and waited. And in theory, I would then be able to catch one, kill it, and then be able to celebrate destroying the predator that's killed my chickens. Well, that's not what happened. Alright, so today we're picking this spot. So if you look around, you'll see it's a lot of open stuff. This is a nice little trail. I found scat, I found parts of animals that it's taken from other places. It's scattered around. So I'm using this stump as my backdrop. So I'm going to dig a little hole. And what I'm doing is a little different. Instead of having a small little hole, I want it to be like a rabbit hole. That's nice and big, and I'm going to hide a spoiled rabbit carcass underneath there. But I want it to be really deep so that the coyote piques his interest and he's got to be here for a little bit. I don't want to be able to just grab it and go. So come over here. I'm using this root system right here, and I'm going to dig at an angle and stick it as far back as possible. That way he has to step. The trap will probably be about right here. And that way I want him to be sitting here trying to get that for a little while. So I'm gonna get some dirt out. Now the reason I'm doing it kind of at this angle with this backdrop instead of just digging a big hole is because I want him to have to come from this angle. You always want to have some kind of backdrop. For me, it's this little root system. And that's gonna help make him have to stay here for a little while. Not good. So I got the hole dug pretty deep. He's gonna have to sit here. He's gonna have to try and get to it a little bit. So now I'm gonna set the shovel aside. I got my little pick tool. What I like to do first is pull this top layer. That's what I'm gonna use to be able to hide the trap very well. This fine stuff is really good. So I'm gonna go ahead and move this aside into a nice little pile that I can use later. Now I'm using a #2 square jaw Duke trap. So it's gonna be pretty large. So I want to clear out a nice area for it. I'm having it a little offset. I don't want it just directly in front. So it's actually probably better for me to set it here. All right, now this stake that I'm using isn't your typical stake, and this part usually sticks above the ground. So what I'm going to do is to stake it off here, I'm going to need to dig a deep, deep hole that I can hide it in. Now I want to set this about this level, maybe move this out of the way, a ½ inch underneath the dirt. So I'm gonna chip away at these sides. Now, when you set your traps, you always want to pack dirt around the jaws. That way this trap doesn't shift when they step, because if it shifts like that when they step, they're not going to commit. And they're going to go away, they're going to get smart. This coyote that I'm hunting, he's very smart. If he feels any play at all, he's not going for it. So I'm going to do my very best around these jaws. I don't want any shifting like that. A lot of people are afraid around the jaws of their traps. I'm still working to get over that. But now, this trap is seated very well. Now I'm going to lightly cover that. And now it's time to blend. What I like to do with these holes is I like to kind of kick it out like something's been digging there. Now I'm going to take this light top stuff, sprinkle it around over it. I take more of this dirt, and I want it to look like something was digging this out. So that's the finished set. You cannot tell there's anything there. That's exactly how you want it. Now, I am going to use this rabbit head. I'm going to put it really far back underneath there to where if a coyote can barely see it, he'll think that that's a really good rabbit just hiding and tuckering down. And so he'll be more active at it. Coyotes, they trust their smell, they trust their sight, but when you combine them both, it's really good. So for this trap here, I'm gonna take a little bit of coyote urine and I'll put it on this stump. I might have poured a little bit too much, but I want the coyote to come and smell it, think there's competition, that gets him over here, and the rabbit keeps him there. Now, in this bucket is one of our rabbits that ended up spoiling because we forgot we had it de-thawed. So, oh, that's rank. I'm just gonna pour a little bit of that juice down there, maybe a little bit up here. Oh, that's potent. That is potent. Oh my gosh. So that's it for this trap. I'll check back with you in a few days, see if we've caught him. This is a very elusive coyote. We've been after him for over a month now. And he's smart, so let's see if we can outsmart him with this one. Hopefully we can, but I'll catch y'all back later. All right, so I found this other spot. It's a natural kind of funnel, and I'm gonna dig another hole right here, and then I'm gonna bait it up, do the same thing basically that I did for the other one. So I'm gonna dig the hole and get the trap set, and you'll see what it looks like when I'm done. All right, so this hole is pretty deep. I'd say it's about 1.5 feet, maybe 2 foot deep. But what I'm gonna do is put a little piece of bait in the bottom, and I'm gonna put some sticks across the top. And basically, I wanna leave just about this much of an opening and have that all covered. But that way they have to come this way, and they've gotta work into it. The trap I'm gonna set approximately here in this area. So I'll get back with you once I'm done setting the trap. All right, so the trap is bedded right here. The pressure plate's right about there. So now I'm gonna get some of these sticks, and I'm gonna lay them across and then cover that top and then leave just that little bit of an opening. All right, so now I've got it where I want it. I think I'm gonna just press my bait all the way to that bottom and then hope for the best. So we'll check back in later. All right, so as you can see, there are tracks just about everywhere around here. The problem is I don't know which ones are fresh. Some of them look fresh. I know a lot of them look old. That one right there looks fairly fresh, but I haven't seen them moving around. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slack off on trapping for a little while. You can see I've had traps set here, I've had traps set all over there, all over the place where they were walking. They just never actually triggered the traps. So I'm finally throwing in the rope, not permanently, but but just long enough to where he gets comfortable moving around again, and then hopefully I'll be able to actually capture him. So I'll catch you guys next video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to keep updated, and hopefully we'll have a coyote pretty soon.